Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of The Deep Corner. I'm Rob St. Clair. Thanks for joining us, the video on YouTube, as well as the audio on Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Music. And I'm pleased to be joined today by a two-time first-team AVCA All-American and the Chicago Icemen opposite, Mr. Griffin Shields. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Great. So yeah, thanks for hopping on. I wanted to start off just like I started off the other episode with Loy, asking, "How are you today, man? What's day to day like these days? How's work? How's extracurricular volleyball? What's the balance?"
Yeah, so working 8 to 5 desk job right now. It's a little transition from playing overseas, so still kind of getting into the groove there, but trying to play as much volleyball as I can right now. Haven't been able to a lot this winter because I've been coaching more, which is a little disappointing, but looking forward to the VLA season and getting back out on the court.
Perfect. What age group do you have? I don't think I knew you were coaching this season.
Yeah, I'm coaching a 16 regional team, so they're they're a lot of fun, you could say.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're in good hands. Uh, So I kind of want to just talk through most of your playing career for the people that didn't like follow you through college and follow you through like the professional ranks in the last couple Icemen seasons. So you're a Chicago boy from Naperville. Uh,
Yep.
I'm from Chicago as well, but from just about the opposite corner of the suburbs. So when did you pick up the game, and kind of what drew you to it in the first place?
Yeah, I think what drew me to it was trying to stay active in the spring for basketball, and then I started probably like the most typical Illinois high school kid at freshman year. Just decided to go out for tryouts, pretty much first time ever playing, and made the team, and then never looked back.
That's pretty much exactly how it was for me too.
Yeah.
I didn't like commit to it as my number one sport until much later, but
Mhm.
I know a lot of kids like from my team who got cut from baseball, and they're like, "Oh, I wanted to do something in the spring," so they came out and became really good volleyball players. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good story. Tell me about in high school. So you went to Neuqua Valley, right?
Yes, I did.
One of the several high schools in Naperville. High school boys volleyball is a big deal in the state of Illinois. I don't know if like people who aren't from the Chicago area don't. I don't know if they quite get how big of a deal it is on a high school level. Tons of kids going to play out in college. How would you describe the level of volleyball by the time you got to varsity in high school?
I mean, I think you said it perfectly. There's a ton of high level volleyball players in the Chicago suburbs. So when you get to varsity, you have two, three guys on each high school team that are going to play in college somewhere. So it's pretty competitive games in high school compared to some states. Like now I'm coaching in Wisconsin. There's maybe one guy on every high school team. So I would say there's definitely a difference in boys volleyball in Illinois compared to other states.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know when I went to college in Indiana, and when I told people that I like played volleyball, they're like, "Oh, you've just like messed around on the beach before." But no, when I told them like, "Oh, it's like a high school sport for us," they were really surprised.
Yeah.
And now living in Michigan, that's even more of a thing because it exists even less here. Wisconsin, it does, which is kind of a nice segue into
Mhm.
where you went to college. But they play it. They play in the fall, boys in Wisconsin, right? That's a little bit
Yeah, they do.
different.
Yeah, that is definitely different. Yeah, their fall season, so most of their club season is just playing and practicing with other Wisconsin teams while the Illinois teams and everyone else high school ball.
Yeah, I always found that kind of interesting that it wasn't like standardized countrywide. About your high school club career, what club did you play for, and when did you start kind of getting attention from colleges? Like, I want to know a little bit about your recruiting process.
Yeah, all right. So after my freshman year, I played NVC my 16th year, played that one season, and then went to Spry for my 17s and 18s year.
Sport
And then
performance for those
sports
unfamiliar.
performance. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I played at sports performance. I would say I started getting recruited summer going into my 18s year. So like that 17s nationals, I started getting some letters, and then through bid tournaments, my 18s year, I was getting more and more letters.
Got it. That nationals was Dallas, right? I think that was my 18s
Yeah,
year.
it was Dallas. Yeah.
Yep. So of all the letters you got, you ended up going to Carthage, which is Division 3, just over the border in Wisconsin and Kenosha, which everybody who really follows college volleyball knows is a big deal. Like for the Division 3 level, that program has built itself into a like perennial contender. But what made you choose Carthage as opposed to some of the other offers you got? I don't know how like what the spread of offers you got were like by division, but talk to me about your choice to Carthage.
Um, I think what helped my choice was I went to a summer camp at Carthage going into my senior year, so got to see LJ's who was the head coach of Carthage at the time, his coaching style, how he kind of run practices, got a feel for the campus and everything. So when I started getting those letters, it was already in the back of my mind. Like I've almost went on a recruiting trip there, basically staying overnight at a camp. So that helped my decision. And coming out of high school, I wasn't the size I am now. I was probably 6'5", 180.
You
So
grew that much in college? That's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And my freshman year, I ended up at 6'8", so same height I'm in now. So getting recruited was a different class than what I would have been if I was my height now. So got mostly Conference Carolina school offers, couple East Coast, and just looking at the schools in Carthage, I ended up choosing Carthage.
Cool. That were you always an opposite or did you get moved?
No, no, yeah. So high school and half of fall ball my freshman year of college, I was a middle. And then my coach, we had about two different times I was in his office for hour and a half, 2 hours, just talking through the change. Because at first he came up to me and he was like, "We're pretty low on opposite. What's your thought process?" And then we set up a couple meetings, talked everything through what career path volleyball could look like if I made the switch or stayed at middle, and ultimately thought I had better chance of playing that year and other years at opposite, and it worked out.
Dude, I tried to make that same switch for years and years and years. I was like the same way, like starting freshman year of high school, you're slightly taller than average, and
Yep,
you get
yep.
put in the middle. And it just happened that every single year, even all through college, that's what my team needed. I never got to make that move until like recently post graduation. So lucky you, your team.
Yeah, no, great timing when I was
Yeah,
there.
seriously. And so you made the switch to opposite, and you really never looked back after that. Like in college, you were a first team All American on D3. Your junior and senior years, like National Player of the Week accolades. Um, how did that? How did your mindset change just about volleyball overall once you made that switch? Like, could you see yourself after college playing as an opposite rather than a middle? Or I'm curious about that.
I don't think it was more I could see it myself playing more as an opposite. I really started thinking about playing overseas after my sophomore season, where I was second team All American. So then it kind of was like, wow, this actually could work out playing overseas, because as a kid growing up playing sports, your dream is to be pro athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of when it set in reality, like I could actually do it. So it wasn't the fact that one could get me there better than the other. It just worked out.
Cool. Tell the people who are like a cursory familiar with volleyball and maybe have watched a Division 1 college match or two, how good Division 3 volleyball is when you get to the top levels of that division.
Uh, I mean, the best way I can put it is IPFW and Ohio State will no longer play Carthage. I mean, that's what I can put it. We, like, the year before I came to Carthage, we took a set off Ohio State, and they've never played us again, just because it's how did we lose to D3 team in one set. And then when you look at the Carthage record books, we have more historical wins versus IPFW. So, I mean, there is a definite, oh, you played D3 when you tell people, but men's volleyball is still so small that there's only what 20, 25 D1 teams now.
So few that they can't even have a
So
top 25.
yeah, they
it's
have
in
a
the
top
20 or
15.
25 neighborhood.
Yeah, so when you think about that, there's guys even on my Carthage team that had D1 offers from Penn State and Loyola and just decided to go to Carthage.
Yeah, which is just as sensible a decision as to go anywhere in Division One. It's
Yeah,
D3 is really interesting to me. Like geographically, it's typically dominated by the East Coast, which is really weird. But then you have Carthage, that's gotten a lot of success in the last 5 years. Like Dominican and Chicago has gotten better even over the last couple years. But like the Springfields and the New Paltz and like the
yeah,
Stevens
the
of the East, the
Juniatas,
Juniata.
those teams are historically better. I think their programs were around a lot longer than even Carthage is. Carthage is now one of the older D3 programs, but when I was being recruited, it was still considered new because D3 volleyball wasn't growing as rapidly as it is now.
Great point. And D3 volleyball is now growing in a very big way, and so is the NAIA. You're starting to see
Yeah,
teams pop up, and even in D3, almost able to form new like leagues of it, which is phenomenally good for the growth of the sport.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so, throughout your very accomplished college career, I'm wondering if you have like one moment in a match or one like just favorite memory on the court that immediately comes to mind. If you could like give us a little story time.
Oh God, put me on the spot here. I mean, not one single moment comes to mind, but looking back on my college career, I got to say my junior season, we just as a team wise, we had a really good team my junior year. We just were a little injury prone towards the end of the season and couldn't pull out in the playoffs, but we had a good squad that year. We had Will Kraft, who's on the Icemen now.
Hmm.
He was our 01, and we had a couple of solid middles that ended up being all Americans too. So that was a fun team to play on.
Yeah, I remember that team because like Scotty Adamchek and I played club
Yeah,
together, and he was a senior on that team. That, like you said, that's a team that no D1 program was going to want to play in preseason. That was going to be scary for anybody's
yeah,
resume.
we played Quincy and Lindenwood our first two games. Ended up with the win versus Quincy, but got swept by Lindenwood.
Was that
We're,
pre or post Overby and Sawicki, your Iceman teammates now?
I think post. I think 1 or 2 years post, maybe.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
It's cool just to like look back on the college careers of your Iceman teammates now, and you know like Scott and Kyle in college, like they played at Linden when they weren't like all stars, and now they're like
now
gonna
they're
really
both
really good. They're gonna
really
be some of the
good
best players in
players.
the VLA. Yeah, and I would say the same thing for you, to be honest. Like you got recruited. You were 6'5", you were a middle, and now you're at 6'8" opposite with legitimate professional experience. So you, after you graduated, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but you took a year and you didn't go play pro right away, right? You took a year like to work in the real world before making that jump.
Yeah, so the reason why I took that year was the second to last regular season game my senior year. I tore my Achilles.
Mm.
So that gap year was just recovering from that surgery, getting the strength back, getting confident enough to play at a high level again, and then worked out how got got a contract overseas.
Well, that's a tough task coming back from that injury in particular when you're not in college anymore. Because like I don't know how you got yourself back up to game speed and then made the jump over to Germany. How did you do that?
I mean, game speed was tough. I only had a couple. I played one indoor tournament and then just grass and beach tournaments in the summer, trying to get back up to game speed. But in the weight room, I had help from my strength and conditioning coach at Carthage. He made me a program that lasted months, which really helped the recovery. And then it was definitely a jump in play when I got over to Germany. I'll definitely say that.
That's a really good segue. So you're a German team. WWK Volleys Hershing, correct?
Yes.
First of all, I have to ask about the Lederhosen jerseys. Oh my goodness, dude!
Yeah.
The yeah, I don't think I don't have the technology to put them on the screen right now, but everybody go look these up. It was like brown shorts and like the blue and white, checkered shirt with like brown the overalls. It looked exactly
Yeah.
like Lederhosen. Those are your volleyball
Yep.
jerseys. Did you guys love those or what?
Definitely mixed emotions on the team. I loved them because I thought it was hilarious to wear lederhosen and play volleyball. But there are some guys on the team that did not like them whatsoever. So, but
They were memorable, that's for sure.
they are definitely memorable. So yeah, if you have the chance to look them up, just you will get a laugh out of them.
Yeah, I did the same thing today before our interview, and I had no idea, so that was a funny surprise. But other than the hilarious uniform possibilities, I want to hear just generally all of your thoughts about what it was like playing in Germany. What were the biggest differences in the jump? What did you learn about yourself as a player? What things changed about your mindset? Just kind of talk to me about life as a professional volleyball player in Germany.
Yeah, I would say the biggest jump was speed of the game. Balls flying everywhere so fast. That was definitely a big learning curve that I had for the first couple months over there. First month or two of preseason were pretty tough trying to get back up to game speed from the injury and then getting back even a higher level than D3 and even D1 plays at. So definitely a big learning moment for me, just trying to stay patient and not get too down on myself when things got tough. But overall, it was just great experience. If you have the chance to do it, I 100% would say go try it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, playing playing that high level volleyball is awesome.
So I have a thought. This might be a hot take to some. I have a thought about the opposite position. I think it's the most important position on the floor. I really do. I think it's at the highest levels, like when you see guys playing on the national team and like in the Olympics and stuff. The
Yeah,
MVP of every high level tournament is always the opposite because like that's the guy that has to take all these swings against triple blocks, like the setter's 50 feet away and just throwing a high ball up there for you, and you've got to take out the trash and find a way to score. And I think the teams that have that guy that can take 40 swings a match and put 20 of them away are just set up for success so much more so than the teams that don't have that guy. Now you are that guy, so you might be a little bit biased in answering this, but tell me about like how you think of your position philosophically.
yeah. I mean, I'm definitely biased in that. Definitely think opposite scores most of the points in matches. I mean, you can ask any high level volleyball coach; they'll say in the men's game, what's the most important position? I would say 9 out of 10 of them will say opposite. The opposites in the league I played in they're all 6'8" up, just jump high, hit extremely hard. Um, just yeah, beasts on the court, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you played against some absolute all stars in that German
Yeah,
top division. And what's cool about it is that it's one of the few leagues in Europe that doesn't really have a foreign player limit, so they can kind of build the teams
yeah,
however they want to. Like Italy, strict foreign player limit, Poland, even more strict foreign player limit. But like even this year, you see a ton of Americans in the German top league, and those guys are like national team caliber players. So the fact that you are
yeah.
a strong contributor in a team in that league is a very impressive point on your resume.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely very strong opposites in the German top league. I mean, in Berlin, you have Ben Patch. Last year, you had him and Kyle Russell both splitting time out in Berlin, and they're both playing USA national team. So, no, I mean, good. Yeah, they're good opposites in that league.
There are some good opposites in the VLA this summer as well, and that's another pretty good
Yes.
segue. So like Brian Lewis at Ascension, Jeff Petak,
Yeah.
Jordan Veree for New York, assorted cast of characters for the Rising Tide. It's no different than any of the European leagues in that that position is going to be a big deal for the team's success. So does that like put pressure on you at all, like to really perform for Chicago this year, or is just another day at the office taking 40 swings a match?
Yeah. I mean, over the years, I've learned to not really feel that much pressure that you're the go-to guy. I mean, kind of in college, got the 30, 40 swings a match, so was used to it. So I'm going into the season, and it's not really feeling the pressure. But once the lights come on and we're out on the court, it might be a different story, but hope not.
Yeah, I know you guys can handle it. We've done it
Yeah.
just a little bit over the last couple years, and it's going to be some awesome stuff this summer. The Tell me more about your Icemen team. So we've got Mastermind Tim Faulkner that's running the show, who I will definitely have on this program sooner or later, and I'm excited to hear his thoughts. But tell me more about your teammates. You mentioned Will Kraft.
Yeah, I think we have a solid group of guys. I think we got a lot of good players in the outside position. I mean, we have Kyle Overby, Dan Starkey, Will Kraft, three solid players right there that will most likely split time. And you throw any combination of our outsides on the court, and we have a shot versus anyone. And then middles, we're solid in the middle too with Sawicki. Um, Dave is Dave Hancock's coming back from Germany, playing for us in the middle. So we got we got a solid squad building.
And pretty much all of you are Chicago based, which is cool because like Tim's tried to build that up into a fact that you guys can practice once everybody's back from their overseas seasons, like the guys who are over in Europe right now. Y'all can come back and actually practice, which is a huge deal. So tell me
Yeah.
what's practice like? Like how often do you guys go in the gym? What do you
Um,
work on?
I'm actually the only non-Chicago based player on the team. I moved up to Milwaukee after I got back, so I don't go to as many practices as I would like to, but try to make as much as I can just to get the connection with Tim down for the season.
Yep, everybody knows how important setter hitter connection is. So you and I run into each other a lot at like random indoor and outdoor tournaments in Chicago, which is awesome. Tell me about how amazing the Chicago adult volleyball scene is.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. It's such a tight knit group where you go to any beach or grass volleyball tournament in the Chicago area and you're going to run into 20, 30 guys. You can have 5, 10, 15-minute conversations with, just catching up, just all super nice people, care how you're playing, how everyday life is going for you. And I think it's great community that maybe in the country is one of the best in the country.
Yeah, I'm biased as well, but I would put it really, really high up there. Like, there's at least one good indoor tournament every month, like during the winter, and then in the summer, whether you like sand or grass or both, like you can play honestly pretty much every weekend. And the level of competition is so high. There's so many ex pros or current pros that come back.
Yeah,
It's always a blast to make the trip back and play in some indoor tournaments. So that's for anybody that's looking for a city to move to that is
high
looking
level volleyball in
yeah,
Chicago.
if you want high
Chicago's your
level volleyball and you just like to play and you like being surrounded by volley people, Chicago might be your place.
definitely.
So where can we catch the Icemen this summer? You guys will be in Louisville the first event of the year, right in April,
Yep,
and
yep.
then
We'll be there,
and
and
then
then we're in Columbus also,
right, and
and
then
then
everybody's
uh,
in Minneapolis, which is awesome.
yes, and then Reno as well.
Yep. So that Reno thing is going to be so cool, man. So for everybody who hasn't seen our schedule yet for the VLA, our championships are going to run like concurrent with USAV Boys Junior Nationals, which is in Reno, Nevada this year. I think it's in or around the 4th of July time frame. And so all 5 of our teams are going to be there playing playoffs. And it's going to be so cool just to get in front of boys who are, some of whom are college bound, like already recruited or committed, or some of whom are 13 or 14 or 15 and are going to like idolize you guys. It's going to be so cool
Just
just to,
starting to get into the sport, and
yeah. Yeah, I think it's
made
exactly what those kids need to see.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we're super excited to bring all you guys out and put on a great show for the fans in whatever convention center we're at the time, wherever we're at in the country. It's gonna be a really cool season. And Griffin, before we let you go, let the people know where they can find you, and yeah, anything you want to shout out, anyone you want to say hi to.
Um, you mean social media wise?
Yeah, I've got your Instagram handle on the screen here, so
Okay, yeah. Instagram, Rob has up. I mean, that's mainly what I use. Facebook, Griffin Shields. I mean, I don't have a public page. You can friend me if you want. I'm not going to say no. Yeah, just thanks for having me and looking forward to a great inaugural season with the VLA and Icemen.
thanks, Griffin. We will see you and the boys down in Louisville the first week in April, and thank you all for checking out this latest episode of the Deep Corner. We will be back in a couple days, and until then, let us know in the comments who you want to see next, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, Rob.